Hello everyone, welcome to Wine for 10, the wine blog that explores inexpensive wine. So let me start out by kind of explaining the premise of this show. I love wine. I've been drinking wine since I was very young. I love expensive wine, don't get me wrong. I enjoy a $50 bottle of wine, but that's a little bit out of my reach on a day-to-day basis. So what I think is more interesting is the ability to find a good wine for under $10. Anybody can throw $25, $30, $40, $100 at a bottle of wine and come back with something that's very good. I mean, it's not a sure thing, obviously, but it's not impressive. If I'm going to a dinner party and I'm expected to bring a bottle of wine, I think it's much more sophisticated to bring something that is under $10. And it's more interesting because the people who share the wine with you, if it's a reasonably priced wine, it's in their reach to go out and get this. So you can share with them your discovery, and they can enjoy it by going out and buying it and experiencing this wonderful wine again. And this doesn't happen if you're bringing an expensive bottle of wine. And you don't want the reputation of being a snooty person by bringing a $50 bottle of wine. I mean, you plunk that down on the table and everybody's like, oh my God, $50 or whatever, even $30. I mean, that's crazy. So we are going to explore the art of picking good wines for under $10. And there are thousands of wines. We are never going to run out of content on this show because there is an endless supply of good wine for under $10. And, when I say good wine, that means something different to everybody. But, I want to share with you what I know about wine. I want to make some recommendations. I'm not going to get too crazy on describing the wine's flavor in terms of, black currants and red cherries and all that stuff, because I kind of think that it starts to sound like noise after a while. I mean, who really buys a bottle of wine based on that, gets home and goes, whoa, wait a second. I'm not tasting those black currants like it said on the review. Another thing is those numbers that you see when you go to the wine store. Don't always pay attention to those. Those can be misleading. Let's see. A couple of other things that are important and I want to share with you, and you can call this a tip, but I kind of learned this the hard way. The grocery store is not the place to buy good wine. And it's not even the place to buy inexpensive wine or get a good deal on a bottle of wine. The grocery store is full of what I call the mass-produced wine. And the biggest offender of this is Yellowtail. I'm not a fan of Yellowtail. I think this is the ultimate in bad form when buying wine. It's everywhere, and it's really not that good. I'm going to show you a lot of wine that is cheaper than Yellowtail and far superior, okay? So please, stop buying Yellowtail. Let's expand our palate. Make a promise to me that you're not going to buy Yellowtail, because I always tell people, if I had a bottle of Yellowtail in my refrigerator, I don't have any wine, okay? Think of inexpensive wines, and I'm going to get into an analogy here. So, like fishing. When I was a kid, my brother was into fishing, and he used to tell me that the real trick in fishing isn't to land a big fish. It's to land a big fish with thin line, okay? You hear these stories about I landed a 10-pound bass on a 2-pound test. That's a challenge. Anybody can land a 10-pound bass on a 20-pound test line. So picking out a good wine for under $10 is an art form, and that's one that we're going to explore on this show on a day-to-day basis. And I'm going to encourage you to also expand your palate and your varietals of wine. We're going to be covering red and white and everything in between. So without any further ado, let's jump into our first wine. And this is a Rioja from Spain. It's the Castillo de Almanza, 2005. And just let me show you that. Okay. And it's, I don't know if you can see that, but it's $9.99, so we just made it under the $10 price point. And let's dive right in. Okay. The first thing I want to stress when you're drinking wine is, at least for me, half the enjoyment is in the smell of the wine. Okay, so you want to swish it around really good, and you see people doing this. This is to kind of get aerate the wine, and you really want to smell the wine carefully before you drink it. I think it sort of sets it up for your palate. So let's give it a little smell here. So this has got a big nose on this wine. It's a little, it's not what I expected. I'm getting lots of earthy components. Some, and this is going to sound weird, some manure, which is not a bad thing. It kind of goes hand in hand with the earthy smell. So let's give it a whirl. I like to chew my wine, so excuse me if you think this is kind of weird, but this is how I do it. So not quite what I expected. Not really a distinctive Rioja. I wouldn't have guessed it was a Rioja in a blind test. It's definitely got lots of stuff going on here, but not necessarily all good. It kind of tastes like, and this is a little bit strange, but it tastes like if I took some bubble gum, those big hunks of bubble gum, the pink kind, and you threw it in the dirt and you kind of rolled it around and then threw it back in your mouth. I'm tasting that really over sweet fruit on top of like earthy manure flavors. So it's kind of a weird mixture, and you're gonna find a lot of these wines with what I call the fake fruit. And I don't like fake fruit, but it sells, and we're gonna try and weed that out. But let me get another whirl here. I've never tasted a wine like this, so this is kind of exciting. This is a very dry wine. If you don't like, that kind of heat and dry flavor on your palate, you're not going to like this. And the aftertaste it's a little bit off. It is interesting. I don't think a lot of people will like it. So overall, I'm going to have to give this wine a pass. So kind of disappointing, but I'm going to have to say that the 2005 Castillo de Almanza Rioja does not get my vote. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you tomorrow.